are we going to let one big result that, look, Bournemouth absolutely battered us last week?
Yeah. Come on, please get to the point.
I didn't interrupt you when you went
I
at me.
know, but I'm just trying to protect you because you're diverting. Go on,
Don't protect me. I'm muting you now, right? I protected you from me. We've got NFFC Boston Supporters Group, a new supporters group in Boston, launching their supporters group out in Massachusetts. Massive shout out to them. It's at Winter Hill Brewing Company in Somerville. For anyone else who wants to go out to Boston and watch the Forest, we've got Cape Fear Foresters, the Nottingham Forest Supporters Group organisation for the Cape Fear region. We've got Nottingham Forest South Florida. Terrible result, but a good turnout and new faces at the South Florida Nottingham Forest Supporters Group. And finally, the reason why I'm mentioning all these North American newer fan groups is because there's an NFFC NA meetup in Ohio, in Columbus, on the weekend of April the 26th, which is the Brentford game at home at Combustion in Clintonville. So big shout out to all the Forest I Love the World fan groups there. But today is not about Forest I Love the World. It's about the pathway and the rest of the season as we map out every result for the rest of the season between Will, Matt, and myself. We'll also talk a little bit about the Bournemouth game. We'll do a Brighton preview. We'll chat about transfers. We'll do a review corner at the end. We'll start with you, Matt. How are you doing?
God, it sounds like you've got a jam-packed episode as ever. I'll be surprised if you actually get all of that in. I will like to say I'm doing great, thanks. I'd like to say that you're these North American meetups. How cool would it be if if one day we get a bunch of the podcasts, maybe some of the big hitters, but just some of the online community and anyone else who wants to go to the North American weekend of Forest. It'd be a great sort of stag do with no stag. No, that's a bit like, let's leave. There's so many female supporters. I didn't mean to sound like they were cut out of that. My point is, what a weekend away that would be just for the North American Forest fans, but just everyone from the UK flying over as well. Be class, right? You get this.
Yeah. No, Matt, I get the picture. I get what you're saying. I just that has nearly happened a couple of times. I think I nearly went to Nashville one of the times, but I just ended up bottling it and not going. Then I moved back from Canada. Well, okay, don't exactly me. You don't need to dig at me. Yes, it will be cool.
I'm not talking about when you might have thought about going and didn't go. I'm fantasizing about a world where these North American Forest fan meetups expand so much. They start becoming attractive weekends for people to, people pop over to Vegas for 4 nights and then fly back. It's really far, but they make it work. I can just see it happening. It'll be a laugh. And I'm just now fantasizing about all the little Forest fan groups around the UK and everyone just meeting up in Ohio, for example. I think it's quite funny and quite a cool reason to travel.
It is cool, by the way, for the audio listeners. Will is here as well. It's not just Matt digging me out.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, Will, how are you doing? How are you feeling this week about Forest?
Yeah, good. Slightly less optimistic about Forest than I was maybe last week, but that's football for you. It just takes one result to bring you back down to earth, doesn't it? So, yeah, I still think we're in a good position. It's just a bit more scary now.
Yeah, it's sort of that's a good point. What is that feeling that we're like? People have talked a lot this year about Forest PTSD, I believe, or I've heard. And now let's just unpick that a little bit. Is that maybe any fan could say that about their club, arguably, but with us, are we sort of almost aware that we've been riding our luck a little bit this year with our lack of goals, I guess I'm talking about, and therefore as fans, having been smashed by Bournemouth, well, to Will's point there, he's just we're actually going, yeah, this is it's what is it, double or bust on Saturday, isn't it, with Brighton?
Yeah, a little bit. For me, it feels like I describe it as like the FOMO. It's a bit of FOMO, really, in that if we don't capitalize on this season, or how much are we going to regret it, basically? And if it all goes, arse over tit, I don't know if I can say that. If it all goes badly, then are we going to massively regret the chance that we had and didn't take? And that's the sort of, I think that's going to.
Well, the short answer is yes to that. We are. It's going to be deeply disappointing.
Yeah, but what is disappointing? Like, it's crazy how fast the goalposts change.
I don't know. I think the real question is are we going to let one result that has stopped us on our best run that we've had over basically one of the most impressive runs of the last couple of decades, let's be honest, since the 90s. It's one of the most impressive runs against top clubs. Are we just going to accept that, we're at about 40 points and then everything else after this is a bonus? Or are we going to go, actually, this is a bit of a test and we're really excited for the next test and how this team regroups? You look at Newcastle, Arsenal and Man City results we had. We conceded 3 goals against them in the space of a few weeks. Lost to Arsenal 3-0, lost to Man City 3-0, lost to Newcastle at home. They really, really beat us heavily at home. I know we scored first, but they beat us heavily. How do we react to that, Matt? We went on and beat Man United at Old Trafford, beat Brentford away, beat Spurs, beat Everton, beat Wolves. I'm missing one in there somewhere, but we beat Southampton, drew with Liverpool when Liverpool were at their peak, and that was technically a little title contenders clash. We came back and bounced back from that, so we can just bounce back again. I think we should find the positivity in it rather than your nugget of negativity. It's so predictable, Matt.
It's not predictable, Chris. We're doing a podcast trying to talk about it. You just completely complicated a really simple conversation. We just lost to Bournemouth. Will made a point that puts us into a slight bit of anxiety and brings us back down to earth. I then said, yes, let's unpick that, because actually, because we've not scored many goals, been riding our luck a little bit. You're going are you completely confident then that we beat Brighton? It's that simple.
No,
Chris. You don't need to read out.
Ask the question. Sorry, ask one question.
Are you confident we beat Brighton? Are you now a bit more back down to earth and a bit anxious about it?
Of course, I'm more back down to earth.
Sorry, Will.
Losing. Right. No, I'm sorry for him.
Microcosm.
Sorry.
So hang on. You asked the question, then you're going to interrupt me. Do you want to ask the question? And then we'll
I'm letting our guest interject, and I talked over him, so I want the audience listeners to hear what Will said.
Okay, Will.
You carry on, Chris. Go on, mate.
Sorry, Will. I'm not trying to. I just want to answer his question. Yeah, of course, I'm a bit more wary of Brighton, but I was always wary of Brighton.
So you're in agreement. That's it.
No, I'm not in agreement. You asked me a specific question, not necessarily about what you said. Look, I think a beating like what we took at the weekend is one of those moments that can really shine a light on how sobering it is. Or you can recognize that all these lads are just athletes, and over the course of a season, if they continue to play how they've played so far, we will do well. I don't think this is a back down to earth moment for us. I think it is last weekend, specifically for that weekend. But after that, I think that we can go on and do great things this season. And
are you confident we can beat Brighton?
I was never fully confident that we could smash or beat Brighton, but I am semi-confident, I suppose. You'll hear my predictions in a bit, but it hasn't changed. My opinion on the Brighton game hasn't changed.
Right,
I've just come back down to earth a little bit more in terms of okay, we're probably not in a title race anymore. Do you know what I mean? I was going on and on and on about that for a few weeks because I was enjoying it. I was enjoying being near the top of the tree, being in second above Arsenal. Then Arsenal go above us. Then we go above Arsenal.
Then we all did. We all did. Just talking of taking a beating after the Bournemouth game. Didn't you take a bit of a beating from some people on Twitter?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
you absolutely got rinsed, and you said you'd share it with us.
Before the game, never do that before the game. Do that.
I didn't do it before the game. I'm going to give some context to this. If you're going to go into this, I'm going to give timelines and context. Okay, so for anyone listening out there that didn't know what happened, I'm sure many or some did. Right, we did a podcast for a preview. I got riled up and did sort of a tongue-in-cheek parody of Kevin Keegan. I meant most of what I said. I really wanted to beat Bournemouth. I mentioned they had a small stadium. I was digging at them a little bit, having a bit of football banter. An hour before the game, Forest Film Room, an account on X, by the way, follow them. They're brilliant. They have loads of cool Forest content. They're class. They did a post, as they would do with normal Forest content, to kind of build up the game. They used specific quote of me going after Bournemouth. And in that quote had me saying, I want to bury them in their own ground. And how I called them shoestring. I said they had a shoestring side out, but I didn't call them shoestring. I meant, in context by that, I meant they had injuries, which they did. Unal, Evangelson, Tavernier was back, Sinise, etc. Anyway, my point being that shoestring comment then got picked up by some of the Forest fans. They had a bit of a go at me before the game saying they're not shoestring. They panned Newcastle last week. I used our account to reply, look, I meant injuries with shoestring. I know they're a good side. Obviously, they hadn't lost
dragging me into it.
Yeah, no. I was using the podcast Twitter handle, right?
to hide behind it. Go on.
I wasn't hiding behind it. They were aiming it at me because I was the one talking in the clip. Anyway,
you decided to hide behind the shield of the brand.
I wasn't, Matt. I'll come to you in a second. Right. Anyway, the point I'm making here is I got absolutely bashed around the place beforehand a little bit by Forest fans because they thought, okay, look, we might lose this game. I turned to my wife and I said, listen, I don't know why this is going off, but I feel like if we lose today, this could go really, really sour. We were in the gym at the time, just before the game. She goes, you'll be fine. It's okay. I was like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, we get back. She's Canadian, right? You don't need to, just shut up. Anyway, we get back, and the worst possible case scenario happens. Forest lose 5-0, and instead of like Forest fans coming to go, hey, you shouldn't have done that before the game, it was before the game. Instead of that happening, 2 Bournemouth fans reposted it, and I went, oh no. And within 10 minutes, you just had wave after wave of abuse from Bournemouth fans. And fair enough, like they were going.
Go on, give us a stinger.
I'm gonna look. I'll do it in the review corner at the end because I'll just read it.
We can look forward to that. We can look forward to that.
I did deserve it a bit, but I will say there was 1 or 2 that were deleted that were
dragging me into it though. You should keep.
Well, no, hang on. Now we'll get to you. What really, really bothers me about the whole thing is you were sat there next to me, nodding your head and smiling, agreeing and going along with it. At the end of the clip,
sat next to you.
You weren't sat next to
virtual space.
In the virtual space, semantics.
They're not semantics. Anyway, in theory, we're all always sat next to each other then. So I'm like,
anyway, look, to just close this off, right? Fair play, right? Bournemouth fans can have a go at me, that's fine. And Bournemouth were brilliant, and their manager's class, and their team was brilliant with all the injuries they had. But can I just say this? 2 things. First thing I'll say, I won't aim at you yet. Yeah, I'll get you in the second round, Matt. The first thing I'll say is, I stand by the fact that I wanted to beat them. I'm not going to sit there and like nod and smile at a team who's done well with us and shake their hands. Like they literally have handed us our most 4 frustrating results the past 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know why a lot of Forest fans are chumming Bournemouth suddenly.
I know, but honestly, I'm not into it. So they gave us the 4 frustrating games. One of them was a volley sending off. 2 of them were 3-2 losses. One of them we were 2-0 up. The other were 2-1 up. Like, I'm not going to sit back and I'm not rivals with them. I still want to beat them and absolutely hammer them. So I stand by that. The shoestring comment was talking about injuries. So that was taken out of context. But whatever, it's football banter back and forth. The final thing I'll say is you sat there and at the end of the clip, Matt, I say to you, do you agree? And you go, yeah, I do agree. I detest them. And all the comments were aimed at me. I can promise you. Talking about me being Irish. I
don't waste my time. I don't waste my time. After I talk to you on StreamYard to then go on Twitter and rewrite it. I'll move on to other things.
I didn't rewrite it. Someone else posted it.
Yeah. I've got 2 questions for Matt, if that's all right, quickly. Matt.
Yeah.
I know what you do. You use Chris like a clockwork toy, right? You wind him up and you let him go, and then you just enjoy the ride, right? You just enjoy the action that you get from that. So I understand what you were doing there. The second question would be, Matt, how would I put this? Do you think Chris has dug himself out of the hole now? Just for going out, or do you reckon he's dug deeper?
I think he's dug deeper.
Down to me.
I think he's doubled down because Chris, when you gave your reasoning, when you were trying to go, I didn't mean what they took it as, and you gave this new context. It was so busy and meaningless and just words. It's no, what you wrote is what you meant. They took
you didn't write anything.
What you said.
Yeah, but hang on. What I said is what I meant because it was a genuine, but it was still a parody of Kevin. I'm not I don't actually are you asking me if I meant that I wanted to beat Bournemouth? Because that's all I was saying.
I was answering Will's question because I know at the end nothing. I'm not asking you anything. We're going to move on with the podcast now because at the end we're going to hear all this. We've given the listeners a teaser of what we're going to talk about. It is funny. And we'll come back to it later. But Will,
I'm just annoyed at you because you get away scot-free with it. That's my only thing. But anyway,
no, but I don't think I said the same stuff as you. And I stand by everything I said about Bournemouth. But again, we can't digress and go down. We talked about Bournemouth. If people want to hear what I have to say about, go and listen to the last episode. Go and listen to the last episode if you want to hear what I have to say about Bournemouth. Let's not waste people's time now.
Yeah. Anyway, look, let's move on. I didn't say anything. I just said I wanted to beat them, and I was really, really stern with that. I mentioned they had a small stadium. That's about it. And I got abused for it. And I got, you know what? I got smashed in the face. Anyway, let's move on.
I think I'm less annoying about it, maybe.
That's what it is. A lot of people have a lot to say about me being Irish. Maybe anyway,
That's
look,
not fair. No, that's nonsense.
It's not fair. But anyway, look,
that's insane. I mean, you're going to put yourself on YouTube. You're going to put yourself up for strangers.
I know. Anyway, look, it is what it is. It's fine. Fair play to Bournemouth. They smashed us, but I still want to absolutely smash them next time we play them, and there's still a rivalry there. That's all I have to say. Right. Let's move on to the Brighton preview, right? Because, gosh, if anyone's got this far, fair play. Let's move on to the Brighton preview. And then we'll do the pathway, and then we'll do transfers and review corner. We'll get out of here. Brighton preview. I'll go to Will. I'll go to Will. I'll go to Will because let's be real, Will.
Well, it's why Will's here, so let's do that.
Yeah. Talk to us a bit about the Brighton game. I can't really figure out their formation. Some of them it's 4-2-3-1. Some of them it's 4-1-4-1. Some of it's 4-4-2. I don't know. Can you give me a bit of insight into how we get at them?
I was more looking at how they get at us, to be honest with you. Maybe that's maybe that just shows how my
there if you want.
Yeah, well, obviously they get the ball out wide to their wingers. They're very similar to us actually in that regard. They stretch the pitch. Mitoma does a lot of work in so he'd be our right back then. So Aina versus Mitoma is going to be an interesting battle. Yeah, I think we need to double up on him, even though I know that Aina's such a good one-on-one defender. It'll be about our midfield like pulling across and doubling up on Mitoma, because that's their sort of offensive outlet. Rutter's look good in the middle, or Rutter, depending on how you pronounce it. Yeah, I think they've just got a good team, haven't they? But they've just been slightly underperforming. It's hard to know what kind of Brighton's going to turn up, because they've had some really good performances and some really poor performances, like almost back to back. Like losing to Everton 1-0 was a bit of a shock. So yeah, I don't really know what Brighton's going to turn up. We've just got to hope that on our day and with the home fans that we can push them on. We've always had close games with Brighton. I mean, it's apart from when we won 3-1, which it did feel close, but we've beaten by 2 goals in that one. I don't think we've had that before. Like on the other, like, have they beaten us since we've been up?
Yeah, they beat us last year at home.
Didn't we get an own goal? Didn't we score an own goal?
In fact, they took.
To be fair, I remember now,
they took 6 points off us last year. We were at the Brighton game that they beat us 1-0 at. Me and Matt were there, and then away, and then they beat us 3-2 when they were missing all those injuries and celebrated like they'd won the FA Cup. They beat us twice last year, but this year we got the better of them, kind of away from home. We were down to 10 men when we shouldn't have been. We drew 2-2, got that late goal, and so, even though they were all over us in that game as well. They've
all been quite tight games, haven't they? So it's probably going to be a nip and tuck again. I can't see either team blowing the other team away. So it's going to be, defensive resolve. See if we can score first, then we suddenly look like we're going to be favourites. The question is, when we don't score first, is that a massive weakness for us? I know it's a massive weakness for anyone, not scoring first. It's quite an important thing, but.
Well, maybe, but you make a point, Will. But actually, before you challenged yourself, you make a good point, because there are so many teams that we score first against. Maybe not this season. Sorry, this season, not this year. But previously, we'll score first and still sit there and go, we need 2 more, because the team will be fine, because they're going to get. So, I don't think you were wrong in your first point about it's not. I don't think it's a given for any side that don't score first that it's that bad. Like Man City. I know it's such an obvious one to call out, but even Bournemouth, quite a few sides, I think. But yeah, I get your point for us. If we don't score first, what the hell do we do? That's surely got to have been the thinking and the talk for Nuno after the Bournemouth game. Surely.
Well, I think primarily we haven't been as concerned about that lately. Probably because we've been scoring first in every game for 6 matches. But I think
we have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, hang on. My point is, we also conceded first against Aston Villa, and I know you'll go, well, we keep going back. No, but hang on, Aston Villa are a very good side. They're playing in the Champions League. We conceded a really good goal, and it wasn't at the beginning of the game. It was actually about 60 minutes in or something, and you could have had panic stations, and we didn't. And we pushed them for 10 minutes, right? We pushed them for 10 minutes straight, and had the ball in the back of the net 3 times. One of those goals was disallowed. So we actually have come back in the last few weeks in one of those games. Yes, it's just one example, but we were 2-1 down against this very team we're playing this weekend at one point, and we came back and drew 2-2 in their home ground. So, and they piled the pressure on us. So I kind of reject that. Any team that goes 1-0 down is going to be up against it regardless. But
you're talking about a game that was in November, mate. It wasn't a few weeks ago. We haven't done that since. But yeah, let's not dwell.
Which game was in November?
The Villa game.
It wasn't. It was in December.
Okay, same thing. It's
ages. Not the same thing because we're in January.
It's February this weekend.
Okay. Right. Anyway. Look. To wrap up the Brighton stuff, I have a question for you, Matt. Actually,
Will made a point about Aina, right? Do you remember last year that Aina started amazing? And then around the Fulham game, and I think a few other games as well, he actually took a dip. He shaved his head. Definitely Fulham sticks out, and that might be just didn't we get thrashed 5-0 there as well?
Yeah, that was horrible.
But I felt like Aina actually disappeared, and then he rejuvenated again this season. Are we nervous that you just mentioned Matoma? Is this the period where basically it's the opposite of a purple patch for Aina? He's been so good and so cool and so positive, but is inconsistent.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he'll be fine. Like, he wasn't actually that, like, we weren't great against Bournemouth, obviously, but he wasn't that bad. The first goal, I think him and Jota got in a bit of a muddle about who should come out and close down Kluivert. Apart from that, he wasn't at fault for any of the goals, I don't think, particularly. So
I'm going to put him in my fantasy 5 teams in that case.
Right. Yeah, could be. Well,
all down to your comments, Will. Aina's going in.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
I suppose not Matoma, you're probably going to get a yellow card at some stage.
I think this is the issue and the epitome of why I get so upset with Matt is, like, after the Bournemouth game, Matt was having like panic. Is this it? Is this the end? You were talking like that. Now all of a sudden he's talking as if Aina's suddenly gone off form. Is this the end? And as soon as Will says,
I'm highlighting the fact that
hang on. As soon as Will says, no, you go, oh, all right, okay, straight in. Then, I'm going to put him in my fantasy 5 team. You're just very, unfortunately, you're very in and out of love. And look, we all are as football fans, but Matt, you are like, it is like number one. You like some of the stuff you went off on this week when we were on the phone. I couldn't even I was kind of going, what's he talking about? Because I know you rewatched the game. I know you didn't watch it live. And when you watch it live, it feels different. Like that first half, I don't want to go back on the Bournemouth game, but that first half, like the end of that first half, we had 5 or 10 minutes of pressure. And then the other side of it we did as well. The game got away from us, and obviously they were very clinical. But my point is, Matt, you just need to just take a deep breath, relax, and move on. This weekend, you're going to the Brighton game, and I believe that we can definitely get a result. I also believe you're good luck. I know it's a weird superstition, but you should be excited. You shouldn't be nervous. We've already had that nervous game that's cost us last weekend.
The nerves are what make it exciting, though.
I suppose, yeah.
I want to be nervous because then if we win, it's just even better high. And I don't get many highs anymore since my detox, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the pathway. Will, I think you're set up well for this. We've been doing this for, I don't know, we've been doing the podcast for almost 5 years. I can't believe it. We've been doing the pathway.
We should definitely be way more successful than we are.
I don't know about that.
Based on the time.
When have we ever been successful? Yeah.
No,
anyway,
based on the time, not based on
well, anyway, look, the point is we've done the pathway 4 times, I think, and it's always been survival or for playoffs, or what have you. Because we've done 3 times before. This is the 4th, and this time we get to do a different pathway, and I think we should call it the pathway to Europe. And whether that's Champions League or Europa, it is a pretty impressive thing that we get to January and we're actually doing a pathway to the biggest competitions in Europe against the biggest and best teams. And we are one of those biggest and best teams in historic times because we've won the European Cup twice. So I just think it's cool. This is the pathway to Europe. So Will, you get the games up. There's 15 games, I think, to play.
We'll go through the pathway to Champions League, or
we can do both actually here.
Okay.
But based on our sort of calculations, we can work out what the pathway is essentially. But so I did a little bit of like background on this and what points required to get on average what position and all that stuff. Do you want me to go into how whether what top 4 is and then the 5th and then who gets allocated what?
I think do that at the end. So let's do the results first and then at the end tell us okay, where we stand and what we think. And obviously, look, there's a big thing. Danscape has done a thing. He's a legend. He did the Dream Tracker for Forest Focus. He's done stuff for Talking Reds, and he always talks in Talking Reds. He's done a thing where there's a table of all the podcasters who predicted last weekend prior to the Bournemouth game where we'd be. And I think Will, me, you, and Matt spoke about how optimistic we were before the Bournemouth game, and how some of those results have obviously changed. So just to let everyone know,
I understand to win the league with Danilo scoring the clincher against.
Win.
Yeah, just so everyone knows who is a listener of ours. If you see our predictor results not coming in on the Danscape thing, but coming differently on this, it's because within a week we have definitely changed my mind hasn't changed that much, but it has changed a little bit, obviously. So, Callum Hudson-Odoi injured as well, stuff like that. But anyway, let's
oh God.
Well, start with this week then. Brighton.
Yeah, let's try and move through it as fairly quickly. Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Go on then. Brighton. We'll start with Chris.
I think we're going to draw up against Brighton. I've actually done that on the Danscape podcast thing. I think we'll draw, and I don't think it's a bad result. That's just my gut feeling. It was before Bournemouth, and it stays that way.
All right, Matt.
I think we're going to lose 2-1. Chris, please don't keep qualifying everything with what happened in the Danscape thing. Just it doesn't matter.
Okay,
just say predictions and stop worrying about stuff that no one else.
Okay, but if we get to prediction number 5 and it's 5 losses in a row because all of a sudden you've lost your heart and you're fickle as anything, then I'm going to switch. Okay. But anyway, go on, Will.
We're losing 2-1. Go on, Will.
This did happen last year where I think I can't remember which one of it was. Thought that we were going to get like 20 points in March or something crazy. If you remember that.
I don't know, but that might be Matt. Will, what do you predict?
I think we're going to win that one. I've put us down for a win. Bounce back ability. I think this team.
Wow, so we've got to draw, a loss, and a win. Wow, okay, that's 3 very different.
Right. One of us is going to be correct.
Okay,
we've hedged our bets there.
If we'd done this tactic in Chris's Danscape thing, then we might have actually done really well in the league because we'd covered all bases, right?
Yeah, because we're all But look, we have a couple of sensible people who are part of our thing as well. Ross in Texas and Ryan Chief are still at Chicago. So look, anyway, let's just move on. Next.
All right. Next game is Fulham on the 15th of Feb away. This is the start of a difficult run for us.
Who are you asking?
We'll go Matt first this time then.
You say we draw that one.
Chris?
I also think we'll draw that game. I had that down for a draw prior to that, so I say draw.
Please, come on.
Yeah, I think we're also going to draw that. Why draw then?
Why draw? I think that Fulham are a tough team, but I also think that they can have lapses. They're inconsistent this season. You look at the game against Man United recently; they lost at home, and they did nothing in that game. I watched a bit of that game. They're up and down, just like Brighton this weekend. So look, Brighton and Fulham could go either way because both teams have been semi-inconsistent, and Forest are a good side. We are good, but we've recently come off the back of a bad loss. So look, that's why I think it could be a draw because I'm sitting on the fence with both games.
Right, I'm changing mine to a win now, based on the fact that we're a good away team, and I don't like Fulham. And the Zinchenko goal still has a special place in my heart. So
wonderful moment.
Great. Were you there on that, Matt?
I was there for that one. Yeah. Met Matt Sturridge's brother. Matt Sturridge.
Sam Sturridge. You can't even remember the name of players from 3 years ago.
His brother was called Matt. His brother was called Matt Sturridge.
Ah, okay. Sturridge. Okay. Right. Anyway, next game.
All right.
Can I just say the reason I've gone for a draw is I think Marco Silva and Nuno will tactically cancel each other out.
Okay.
Fair enough. Both good managers.
You're trying to be smart there, but okay.
All right. The Toon.
I don't need to try.
We're playing the Toon away on the 23rd of Feb. We lost 3-1 to them at home.
Okay. I'm going potentially to that game. I'm definitely flying over for it, so I'm hopefully sitting in the away end. If not, I'll be in the home end. But I'll be supporting Forest. Obviously, I've gone for a draw in that game as well. So I know it's 3 draws in a row, and it's ridiculous for me to say that, but I've gone for a draw in that game as well. It's so Fence City, but yeah.
Matt,
I think we lose.
Fair enough. I also think we're going to lose, and I hate to say it because I severely dislike Newcastle. I wouldn't
That's
say
so much
something
more
like
polite than when you say it privately.
yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. I don't think we're going to bury them in their own shitty stadium. If
Sorry, I missed that, guys. I was my internet went, but anyway.
this as well, yeah. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to beat them just because I think they're a very good team, annoyingly. And if I say that we're going to lose, then I can't be disappointed if we do lose, or if we get a draw, then I'll be delighted. So I'm hedging it on feelings.
Just before everyone switches off and goes, what are these guys on about? I did have us pinned for a win against Bournemouth this weekend. So that was, if we'd started last week, it would have been win, draw, draw, draw. So, that would have been, this is a tough run for us. These teams have been difficult. What are you getting annoyed at me qualifying things? I let you qualify your thing with your tactical analysis on Nuno and Silva, Matt. Whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to let people know. Anyway, let's move on to the next one before people really do switch off.
Arsenal at home, the last February fixture.
Matt, you
win.
can do this.
Matt, win. Love that.
Will, what do you say?
Win.
I think we're going to lose that as well.
Everyone knows that when Arsenal come to the City Ground, I always predict a Forest win because they're mentally weak and we will go after them. So I'm predicting that we will beat Arsenal, my brother's team.
Feels like a Danilo comeback game as well, doesn't it?
Oh, I love that.
Love that. Imagine that. Lovely.
Matt, I tell you what, I love that narrative that you've just created there.
Yeah. That is a narrative. That is a narrative.
Okay. Sorry for the people who don't understand the in joke in this. Matt doesn't like us mentioning the word narrative because
You're now creating a narrative, Chris. I dislike your misuse of the word narrative. I don't mind people using the word narrative. It's you're using it. Anyway, it became a hot word in podcasts, and you more than anyone was throwing it around like it had 1,000 meanings, and that's what irritated me.
Okay, well, don't create another narrative, and can we move on to the next one, please?
Right, into Man City at home. Yeah. Talk to me, Chris. What do you want?
Well, obviously, I want to win, but with this is our first loss in this run, actually. So I predict we lose. I've predicted 3 draws and a win up to this point. I predict we lose this game to Man City. I think that they'll catch a fire. They've spent loads of money again, buying all these players, and they're suddenly coming into a bit of form. And I'm hopeful that the European stuff affects them because there might be 2 European games either side of that for them, I think. And they play someone else, not Arsenal. They play Arsenal this weekend. They play someone else, Liverpool or someone around that time. So look, I predict that we lose, unfortunately.
Matt?
I think we draw.
I have also got us down for a draw. I think Man City are fragile and we can do them on the break. And
they'll be in between playoffs, right?
If they go through the playoff against either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, then they'll be in the last 16, and they'll be between the 2 legs of the last 16.
Right, okay.
And they'll be under pressure for that because the league might be. Hopefully the league is slightly gone for them by then and they're focused on the Champions League. Anyway, whatever.
We might have McAtee by then as well.
Oh, that's a dream.
That's a dream. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. Ipswich away. Matt?
Win.
Yeah, Chris?
Win.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a win as well. No offense.
We're better than them. We're a lot better than them.
I think if you're not going to predict us to get a win here, then when are you going to predict us to get a win? Basically, it's got to be done. They're in the relegation zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Less said about that, the better. Right, now on to Manchester United at home. Chris's little eyes light up. Mm-hmm. This is on the 1st of April. I will say that there's an FA Cup quarterfinals are on the 29th of March, which I'd imagine that Man United would probably still be in. Maybe we will as well.
That's what they go for. They love the domestic trophies and stuff. And
they're going to need to get into Europe, so they're going to have to prioritise that.
Can you imagine
not necessarily will. Sorry, hang on. Not necessarily will because they could win the Europa League and therefore they'll be in the Champions League. And by the way, they're the bookies' favourites right now to win the Champions League still. And Spurs are second favourites, even though Spurs and Man United are doing terribly in the Premier League. So they're actually the favourites. My question is, and this goes to Matt and Will, is what happens if Man United are in the FA Cup final? I'll be rooting for them to lose because they'll take away that European spot for the Europa League. But let's say they win the FA Cup. Then what happens? Do I have to turn my attention to the Europa League and want them to win the Europa League to get in the Champions League and therefore cancel out the fact that they've cancelled out the Europa League one? Do you get me? What if they win both competitions? Does that Europa League spot still get cancelled out, or does that come back into play?
Before we go down that yellow brick road, just on Will's initial point, I was going to say, what if that Man United semi-final is actually against us? We've got them and then a quarter-final. So we've got 2 games in a row against Man United within a week.
That would be tasty.
It would be. Oh, I'd love that too. Especially if we can beat them twice. But I don't think I've predicted my results yet. Matt, do you want to predict? Have you predicted it yet? Go for it.
I'm going to say that I think we lose it. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh, you're just a nightmare. No, like you just. I feel like you almost did that on purpose, but anyway. We beat them at Old Trafford, and you're just going to go ahead and predict that we lose. And we beat them at City Ground last time in the league as well. Like, just, whatever. Will, what do you say?
Everyone's beat them at Old Trafford, but yeah.
I've got us down for doing the double over them.
Oh, brilliant. That would be amazing. I love it.
That would be amazing. And guess what I have, folks?
No, you got 3 points down. There's no question.
It isn't. No, I don't. I have a draw.
Draw.
I have a draw.
I believe it's so obvious that you're that means you think we're going to lose. You don't
No, it doesn't mean I think we're going to lose, Matt. It doesn't mean I think we're going to lose. It means I think we're going to draw. That's what it actually means.
It means that you think we're going to lose. You just don't want to say it, and you don't want to admit it.
No, if I thought we were going to lose, I would say I think we're going to lose. This is what the pathway is all about. Move on to the next one, Will, before Matt really annoys me.
Next game on the 5th of April is Aston Villa. Now, little caveat here as well. Quarterfinals of the Champions League, if Villa make it that far, are on the 9th. So just 4 days after we play them. So that could have some sort of an effect on them.
I think we can beat Villa this year because it feels like you said, even if they're not in the Champions League, they'll be in a downward slump. I just think we've got their number this year, and a bit like in the way that, and the past couple of years, we do all right against Villa and Unai Emery. So I'm going to put us for a win.
Nice. We're away, by the way. I should count.
Yes, I feel like it's time for us to win at Villa Park, though. I feel like it's time.
Nice, Chris.
This is actually one of the games I have us down for as a loss. We are good against Villa at home. That's true with them the first season. Beat them last year 2-0. Beat them this year 2-1 at home. Obviously, none of those games have any. They've no relevance to this game a few months later. But
I just think it's now time for us to go and win at Villa Park. Yeah.
No. I'm saying we lose, Matt. You don't need to. I get that you're saying that. That's fine. I'm saying I think we lose. I think Villa will be. Look, I mean, they might. Duran looks like he might be going to Saudi, and Watkins has had bids on him from Arsenal not fans, or from Arsenal themselves. So who knows what will be happening with their strikers situation? But I think we lose at Villa Park, unfortunately.
Well, I had a draw down for that one. I reckon. I think we're very similar teams as the time we played them at home suggests. We only just squeaked past them, didn't we, right at the end with a late surge. We'll move on anyway. 12th of April is Everton at home. I've got us down for a win there against Moisey. I think the new manager bounce will have worn off by then, and they'll be back to being a slightly better version of Everton than they have been, but still Everton.
Do we beat them again, and does Taiwo play against us?
Have we beaten Everton yet?
We beat them 2-0 away recently.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
This season, right? We haven't we? But
we really should have beaten them in the first game. Was it the first season up? That goal that Brennan Johnson scored.
We drew. Didn't we?
Pickford did a long ball down the middle, and they scored late. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but I think we do the double over Everton this season. Mangala's injured for a long time, and he's their best midfielder.
Yeah, God, bless him. He got an ACL injury. Oh, I feel for him. Yeah, but I still think Moisey's done wonders with them. But I think we beat them as well, by the way. So we'll move on from that. No one needs to know the reasons why. You win as well, Matt?
Yeah,
Matt?
3 wins. Yeah, 3 wins.
Yeah, I heard you.
Happy days. Right, next one, Spurs on the 19th away.
0-0.
0-0. I like that you just throwing in a few score lines in there. Keep it fresh.
I don't. For some reason, I don't think we can win on that pitch and in that stadium. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me as a fan. Can't. Believe how fun that stadium is. Having gone there last year, but I don't know. I can't see us keeping them out. despite how awful they've been. I just think, yeah, I feel like it's
I think
Dom Solanke party against us at the
Oh,
Hotspur
God.
Stadium.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
James Madison party.
well,
look,
Brennan
look,
Johnson. Well,
we've seen what they were like with injuries against us. Like we beat them at home 1-0 handily, and they just didn't look threatening at all. But I think we'll draw that game. I think we'll get something from it. I think Forest towards the back end of the seasons, this and last year we always tend to heat up a bit. And I think am I back?
Yeah.
you never left.
Sorry, Forest always tend to heat up a bit, and I think we will heat up at the end of the season, but so will they a little bit, and we'll end up just drawing with them 2-2 or something mad.
Right, I've got us down for a loss in that one. I just think they're going to have one of those games where they just tear it up.
God, this episode is pretty.
Well, hang on, Matt. You think it's negative because we've got a loss here and there, but like I actually haven't got that many losses, and neither of you. Wait to the end. Don't.
No,
but you're pushing people away. Sorry, go on, Will.
I'll tell you who's most negative at the end, and who's the most positive.
Yeah, let's do that. Right.
Yeah. There we go. Right, Brentford at home is the next one. Last fixture in April.
We have to win it.
Well, are you saying win, or are you saying we have to?
I'm saying win. I'm saying win because we're not allowed to lose.
I'm also on that bandwagon. We are going to batter Brentford, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah,
Chris,
win.
Love that.
Why would it be? No, I'm not. Yeah, a win. They've got Mbemo, they've got Wissa, they've got a very organised team, but we're better than them.
I bet Wissa scores against us.
Yeah, and they can lose 4-1, whatever. We'll beat them 4-1.
Right,
if Wissa doesn't come to us in the next few days, who knows? We might make an improved bid. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He won't come to us, and then he'll score against us because that's incredibly Forest thing.
Look at Matt nodding along. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
a couple of games after Taiwo buries us at Everton. Well,
can you just stop? Will, can we move on? I'm gonna have to meet Matt.
Buries us at Spurs.
Yeah.
We get Taiwo, Brennan, and then
this is how this season's gonna unfold. It's all our ex-players just doing really well again.
All our chickens coming home to roost.
Let's move on, please.
Too many chickens. All right, Palace away. What are we saying, Chris?
Oh, I know what Matt's saying. Matt's going to say that we're not going to win that game because it's Palace.
I'm going to say we can. That's one that I've got us down to win, definitely, yeah. I can see us winning it. When I look at Spurs away, despite the Spurs form, I just still can't see it. But when I look at Palace away, I go, yeah. Yes, we can.
Will?
I've got a draw.
I've got a draw as well.
But I feel like it's the kind of game where we get a major injury to an important player.
Oh, what are you doing?
What a horrible thing.
What are you doing? What sort of hypothesis is that? No, I don't know what you mean. I don't want to talk about it. No, honestly, Matt, I'm really getting annoyed now. We've done 2 draws. We've done a loss. We don't need win. You said win. That's positive. I don't want to do this. I'm not putting that out in the universe. We'll move on to the next one, please.
Okay, we've got Leicester at home, 10th of May.
Win it.
We've all got win.
We've all got win. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
we can move on from that.
It'd be nice to send them down, wouldn't it?
It would be really nice to send them down, especially after they got rid of Cooper. Yeah. Let's go. Next.
I'd like to see Cooper in the home stand. Just
that would be cool. That would be cool.
Just going. Yeah.
Right, next.
All right, West Ham away, my penultimate fixture. Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to put us for an away win, last away win of the season.
Nice. Chris?
They're not that good, but I think we draw. Potter's made a bit of a difference there, but it all depends. I don't know if they're getting any players in. They're missing.
Yeah, but none of us do, Chris. You're not on your own.
I'm going with draw. There you go. Okay. Like, why do you like? Am I not like give reasons, but you are?
No, you give. Can't wait till you hear this back.
Right, I won't be listening, so don't worry about it.
Final game is Chelsea at home, and there's another caveat for this, in that the Europa Conference League final is on the 28th of May, 3 days after this game is set to be played. So I'd imagine Chelsea will probably be in the final, or you'd expect them to be, really, wouldn't you? Will they have their eyes set on that a little bit? Would they be have their head turns, or will they be desperate to try and get into Europe. We don't really know what's going on. I'm saying it's going to be a draw. I think we're just going to need a draw to maintain Europe, a specific European place that will be. I'll tell you where that finishes us after this, but I reckon a draw will do us. It'll be enough. Matt,
I reckon we win it because we played them at the end of the season at home last year, and it was a very bizarre dynamic when we knew we were safe no matter what, and then we went 2-0 up, and then we lost 3-2 or something. It was like, oh, and everyone was still sort of cheering, and it was, was it? Yeah,
that was
a weird game though, wasn't it?
It was very strange, very strange.
Yeah,
and it was like their away kit was this like turquoise, dreamy, druggy vibe, and I remember watching their kit going. Their kit is such a good color for how I feel about this game. It was so hard to
recap I've heard, but yeah.
But yeah, I think we beat them this time, and I think the players, and I think it's another Callum goal. I think, yeah. Don't know too many details.
We do tend to have Chelsea's number. Chris, what are you saying?
I'm going. I go draw. I just think in my heart that's what it is. I think that it'll be a back and forth game, like Matt said. End of the season, we played them in the end of the season before as well, and it was 2-2 at their place at Stamford Bridge.
You've got to remember here that it's at home, and it's
I do.
Season. It could mean quite a lot.
It could be us or them for a European spot. It could be a real showdown.
But I'm just saying it from Matt and I were at the Chelsea game this year. That was a class battle, and it ended up 1-1. And there's something about this Chelsea game. I know we beat them at Stamford Bridge the year before, and the year before that was it. All I'll say is I think it's going to be a draw. That's my sense. They have enough quality.
Like you, Chris.
Do you know what, Matt? I'm not going to swear. Just don't annoy me. Will, go on. Sorry.
You're announcing the draw like it's the first time you've ever called a draw as a prediction. It's like so funny. You know what? It's a draw. So,
you'll be surprised here, Matt. But he's called more draws than either of us in these last 15 games. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 draws in the last 15 games.
Can I be honest with you?
More than 50% of the games are draws.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy this pathway episode like every year. I enjoy it quite a lot. The one thing that I forgot about it, because I think the first ever one we did was just me and Will. The one thing I forgot about it was Matt's incessant commentary on me calling one result or another. I'm sorry, Matt, that I didn't call a win or a loss, or I didn't predict that maybe a player might get injured in the game like you absolute utter clown. But I call what I call, and I call a draw, and you just have to listen to the results and see what comes through. Okay?
I just think it's mundane, but okay.
I think you're mundane. Move on, Will.
All right. So I'll just give a little sort of rundown of what on average would get us where, okay, and then I'll give you what our predicted points tally is, okay, for each person.
Let's do that. That sounds good, Will. Thank you.
Fourth, to get fourth, the average you need about just 70.1 points. So let's just say 70 points to get fourth. Fifth, to get fifth is 65.6. Sixth place is 62, and eighth place, which looks like it's possibly going to be enough.
Seventh. What about seventh? Sorry, what about seventh?
Didn't do seventh. Couldn't be bothered.
Is eighth potentially Europa Conference?
Eighth is the lowest you can probably get out. Right. The top 4 get Champions League, right? And then the fifth gets Champions League almost certainly now because of how the Champions League happened last night for us. It's like 98, 99% certain. Let's just bank that. Let's say the top 5 again Champions League. Sixth place would go to Europa League. FA Cups gets a Europa League as well. But if anyone from the top 6 wins the FA Cup, then that just goes to 7th place, gets the Europa League. And Carabao Cup as well. But if anyone from the top 7 therefore win that, then that goes to 8th. So let's just assume that, I don't know, Liverpool and Man City just clear up on the cups like they usually do. And it's the top 8, okay? And the 8th place is
assume that, yeah, because that might not happen. Man United screwed over Newcastle last
We
year.
have to, there's a lot of assumptions going on. We've just gone through 15 assumptions each. So
Yeah. So we can do 2 more.
we have to assume a few things here, Chris.
Yeah.
But 8th place average position since the 1999 season is 54.24 points. I.e., we'd only need another 10 points to get 8th, possibly on average. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, which is crazy, right? So it feels like that's quite achievable. So where should I start? Do you want to start with Matt, Chris, or me on how many points?
Matt, definitely Matt. Go with Matt first.
Matt's predicted us to get 74 points, which puts us in the top 4, which is very nice. So Champions League place, no problem there. I've gone for. What
did Matt get? Sorry, say that again. I cut out. What did Matt get?
74 points. Matt's predicted us to get.
Wow.
So that's
Champions League.
It's not so negative anymore.
That's 30 points from my last 15 fixtures, which is 2 points per game, which is at the moment we're on 1.91. So it'll have as an improvement on where we are now.
How many wins did he put in? How many wins did he put in?
How many individual wins?
Yeah.
9. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 9. He's got us winning the last 5 games in a row, which is.
That feels about right, though. We've had a thing. We have a bit of a tricky time, and then we go on a resurgence at the end.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. I would have thought that was insane, but you thought we were going to get. You predicted us to get about 6 wins in a row earlier in the season,
and we did. You predicted. Yeah. I made a deal with the devil. I said he never see the podcast again if he didn't want to. He could just come on as a guest if we got those wins, and we did.
Yeah.
I need to protect our listeners from having polite guests not holding you to account, Chris. So that's why I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Well,
and I don't just mean Will here. I mean our very lovely other people that contribute.
Well, listen, the clock is ticking here. So, Will, can you do me a favor and tell me, go for your own. Tell me what you finished on.
I predicted us surprisingly actually to get 70 points. So that would be like right on the borderline of 4th and 5th.
So, wow. So far, Matt and Will, you're still very optimistic, even after the weekend's troubles and stuff. Like incredibly optimistic, like ridiculously.
Yeah.
Because when you hear the games spelled out, you realise what's still quite doable. But go on, let's hear Chris's mundanity played out before our eyes.
Chris is the least optimistic of the 3 of us. You'll be surprised to hear, or unsurprised to hear.
Hang on. I'm usually more positive.
67 points you've got us down as, which in fairness gets us a 5th place finish.
Thank you.
So
we're all thinking Champions League.
We've all got Champions League. That's what's happening. That's what's been predicted.
Champions. The music. Listen, and listen, this is after a thumping at the weekend that brought us back down to earth. But this has been a positive exercise for me this week. I've been very stressed. I've been very upset. And you know what? We might just do it, Matt. Might just.
What's funny? What's good about this is come clear. At the beginning of this podcast, or the middle part, whenever I started talking about the Brighton game, I was worried about the true feeling of losing this weekend. Now I can go and lose and be okay with it and go, it's still fine. We'll still get Champions League. Because I predicted us to lose against Brighton in that pathway.
Yeah, it's true. So you don't write anything.
I'm safe. I'm basically going into a weekend with a shield. Right. Anything can happen and it's a win for me.
Whatever, doesn't matter because we'll make it up later.
Yeah.
We better get out
because we're beating Arsenal at home.
Matt, can I just say that your prediction reads a bit like someone who's left their dissertation to the last day and 5 wins in a row to get us 3.
Right, look.
I've just finished my tax return at the 11th hour.
No one cares about the tax return.
No, but it's just maybe why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. It was like all at the last minute. And
yeah.
Can we just talk really quickly about transfers? Really, really quickly. Look, none of us know what's going to happen in the next few days. Something could happen when this is released, and we wouldn't know about it. We had a potential bid for Cunha, but that never went in. Wissa, we had one turned down for 22 million. We were looking at Douglas Luiz. McAtee's been in the mix. I like the sound of Jonathan David. I've heard a few people throw his name out. Canadian who plays for Lille, who's a really, really top striker. But ultimately, nothing has happened yet. Omobamidele's gone out to Strasbourg on loan. That'll probably be made permanent. If I'm going to ask one question to each of you, and I've already prepped you for it. What kind of player would you like to see come in? And don't just say striker, but what kind of profile player would you like to see come in, Will, if it was just one player to come in the window? There might be more than that. There might be none. But what kind of player?
When you say prepped us for it, you mean just now? You don't mean?
I mean, I sent this question out in the memo that you didn't read while you were doing your tax return that you just spoke about. Will, can you answer the question?
Stuff. Yeah.
Can you answer the question before I was really interrupted? Will.
Sure. Versatile forward player, basically, like someone who could play across the front three positions, gives us cover, and is good enough to at least be banging on the door of first 11.
Okay, that's a very good answer, Matt.
Perfect for that. Yeah.
Matt, you're usually good with improv, seeing as you haven't read the memo. Do you want to go first?
We'll just ask the question as normally, as simply as you can, and concisely for me. Ask the question.
So patronising. What kind of player would you like to see Forest sign? And that can mean anything from, skillful, fast to their personality. What kind of player would you like to see Forest sign in this window if we sign any in the next few days?
It's the same answer from every Forest fan, Chris. Like a forward player that can...
Tall.
Yeah. Someone with nice eyebrows, I guess, I'll say.
Okay. Right. Are you saying that because I have no eyebrows? Is that what that is? Okay.
No, I'm saying it because everyone else, of course, we want the same thing. So I'm trying to be different. I'll tell you what I want. Nice eyebrows that I don't care about how good he is at football. They're that nice.
Oh, very funny. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I want. I would like a player who has the personality to come in as a striker. So a striker, obviously, and want to push a Chris Wood, who's having the best season he's ever had. A young striker who literally believes in himself so much, he goes, actually, I can take this Forest team to the next level and push them beyond just fifth and fourth into third, second, back into a mini title. Someone who believes in himself so much. He's like a Morgan Gibbs White of
Do you know who we should try and get?
Go on.
That covers both Will's and Chris's profile there, and maybe even mine with the eyebrows, is that Alvarez guy who was at Man City.
That's the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Alvarez went for big money both ways, Matt. You're an idiot. That's the transfer talk completely in the bin. Anyone who's watched and listened to this will clip that up and go, who's this moron? It's over.
I can
move on to the review corner.
He's right, though. He would fit both our
don't give him any credit.
But it would cost him an absolute fortune.
It was listening to our talk took me to Alvarez. And where does he play now? Where does he play? Is he in Spain?
Is that Atletico Madrid?
Atletico Madrid, yeah, so he's in Spain. Yeah, he's not coming to us from there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he'd gone to like Atalanta or something. I thought maybe we could.
I think Jonathan David is even a more. He's Champions League football right now. I think he is even quite a little bit out of reach, but I think he's the kind of profile player that I think we will be good. He can do a bit of hold play. He can do everything. He can, I just think he's a good number 9 that will come in. Obviously, people spoke about Evan Ferguson on loan and stuff. I'm not just saying that because he's Irish, but he was a profile player we'd be looking at as well. Anyway,
Tyrell might be 2 goals in 2 years in the Premier League. It's like,
okay, there's no way we don't get. We're going to get someone in. You can guarantee that. We've never not got anyone in on a window before.
Yeah, someone will.
What about someone like, is Dzeko still playing? Edin Dzeko?
Oh my god.
I think he is still playing, yeah.
Is he into Milan or something?
I feel like he's at like
Roma or something, or I don't know.
Do you reckon someone like that?
Is he in Turkey? Is he in Turkey?
I was going to say St. Petersburg or like, I don't know.
Is he too old to do Premier League, do you think?
I don't know where he is now, but yeah, I reckon he's in some sort of like middling Italy club or something. I can't remember. Let's find out.
Will you find out? I wish I never asked the question. I think he might be in Turkey. I think he's at like Galatasaray or Fenerbahce or something like that. I wish I never asked the question. With
Keenan Davis, get Keenan Davis in.
Yeah, he's doing well actually.
Keenan Davis.
Fenerbahce, I believe.
told you. It was Fenerbahce Galatasaray. Anyway, let's just end this. Let's hit the music, and I'll do a review corner. All right, and
you're hiding behind the music now.
Yeah, this is the bit we've all been waiting for, though, isn't it? It's where we get to hear what abuse has been hurled at Chris in the last.
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty quick because I could only take a few screenshots of it. But basically, we've.
Is that all that you could do?
You're such an absolute snake in the grass. You were sat there nodding along with me. I didn't throw it out there an hour before. Someone else did, but it caught fire. Just give me a break. So Andy's called me a bellend. Someone else has called me a clown. Someone else has a load of emojis of laughing faces everywhere. Someone said shame. Someone said ha 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 ha. Maybe teach you humility, you tosser. So Stuart has said, go on, say it. You had a bad day, I roll. Higgins has said, lucky we have a small stadium. Otherwise, it might have been 10, you absolute mugs. Finn has said, always have to include the small stadium. That has zero effect on what happens on the pitch. Glad we dominated you and beat you 5-0. You entitled, and I imagine he means the words beginning with a C and ending with a T. Someone else is saying, funny Knots accent that likes. I've taken the piss out of the fact that I'm not from Nottingham. Bellend. So that's another Bellend comment. Someone else is shut up, you C word. What a twat. We'll just leave it at that.
I think that's
simple and effective, that one.
Follow us, even if you're a Bournemouth fan. Follow us at Forest All Over on Instagram or at NFFC All Over on X. I got my humility. Fair play to you. I deserved it. We move on to Brighton. Matt will be at the game. Shout out to Wolverine from Forest on TV, who's going to meet you at the game, Matt, I believe, and Elliot, who's going to meet you at the game as well. So big shout out to the two of them.
Yeah,
big
and I'm going to get I think the crowds get together. The crowds. What I mean, same old faces.
Yeah, you'll meet some cool people. Big shout out to everyone. Dave Sanders, he'll be there as well. And he'll probably meet you for a drink half time because you'll be in the same stand as him. Probably.
Yeah, he's in the same stand.
Yeah. Will, thanks for joining us. I hope it wasn't too bad for you as it was for me.
No problem, mate. Enjoyed it. Hard for you, enjoyable for me.
I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Listen, I'll get the Fantasy Fives out before the game. We'll all submit our teams again. It's going very well. Will, do you think you can compete to win it at the end, or is it too tight with you?
I think Matt Davies is clear. There's no one catching him now.
All it takes is 1 week of getting the right captain or the right sub.
Well, I think what annoys me about the Forest Fantasy Fives thing the most, and I said it on the last podcast, is the fact that Matt didn't do his team in his own game for 7 weeks and is only 9 points behind me. It's actually unbearable. But look,
team.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you need to do the scores for this week, Matt.
I know. That's what you said.
We've done the follow us stat. Everyone, thank you. I hope we beat Brighton this weekend and bounce back, but if we don't, it's not the end of the world. Let's not hit the panic buttons, Forest fans. We are in third right now, and we will finish Champions League based on the pathway that we all did there. Thank you.
Goodbye, Will. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Chris.